Well, thank you, Mr. Keller. We'll just reshuffle the cards and chairs on stage. Thank you for having joined us. Indeed, it's a quick change of setup, and I would like to invite Lieutenant General Heiner Braus to join me here on stage. He brings his own hand mic, his own handheld mic, and we'll keep our distance up on stage here. Great. Mr. Braus, you are... Kamala Jakobait just joined us on stage as well from the Deutsche Atlantische Gesellschaft. Great. So Mr. Braus is a renowned expert for NATO, and when I planned the NATO talk with Ms. Jakobait, she said we need to commend him. What I heard about you really struck me. I felt like I wanted to get a glass of port wine with you in Hamburg, despite COVID-19. You were introduced to me as somebody who brought a lot of inspiration into the team. You have a lot of connections. You have a good network. It's not easy to get speakers to join us for our event. And thirdly, what I found very interesting was that you are very easily approachable and always available. So thank you very much for that on behalf of the entire team. So thinking back of the event, was it all worth it? Well, pro domo, I'm very happy. I'm very impressed with what all the panelists and also our keynote speaker contributed. And also the first round that you moderated was great. I also enjoyed your moderation and the technical team. I personally am very satisfied, very happy now and relieved, and I hope everybody else feels that way. We collected a few comments and we'll have a final Zoom meeting and do a debrief, I'm sure. So what are, you would say, 3 aspects that would kind of make this event come full circle? The top 3 things that you take home from this event. Do you know what I appreciate in talking to service members is how they are so brief, and that's what I expect from you too. I know. The top 3, well, over in the past 10 or more years at NATO, I worked as a civilian, not as a military personnel, and sometimes you have to be a bit more wordy and not as concise as a service member. And when you asked me what my top 3 points are, I thought of like 30, not just 3. But I'll just try to focus on the first 3. Or the first 3.5. Joschka Fischer said that the transatlantic relationship is indispensable. That's my first point. Indispensable for us as Europeans and indispensable for us Germans. With Biden, the transatlantic alliance, and we as Europeans get a new chance. President Biden, once he is president, hopefully, will revive and heal and repair the transatlantic relations just purely through his style and through the confidence and his partnership. But he needs support. And that kind of support needs to be coming from us, from Europe. And as Joschka Fischer said clearly, without Germany, it's not possible. So this support needs to come from us, Germans. We must not lay low. We must not hope that it's going to be the way it used to be before Trump. We must not lose time. We need to approach and reach out to the new administration, make offers to this new administration, tell them what Europe can do more and better as part of the transatlantic alliance and what Germans need to do for that. Jana Pulirin said it in the beginning, we're doing something. Is that top 2? No, this is still top 1. The Europeans in the EU and in NATO should get together and define very clearly what they want to do together and in order to supplement reasonably what the Americans do as partners and not without them, not autonomously, but instead with the United States. And now, topic number 2, China. China is towering over everything in a certain sense. China policy is everything policy, is what the Americans usually say. So in DC, everything is about China. In Europe, we need to take note of that and make conclusions, draw conclusions from that. The Americans are turning to the Far East with force and turning away from Europe, even though they stay here militarily. And this panel just said it. The Europeans do not have the opportunities that to replace the Americans here, but they need to supplement them. And they need to do much more for defense and deterrence vis-à-vis Russia, but also for crisis management in the south. They need to do more to protect the freedom of navigation together with the Americans worldwide, because these trade routes are much more important for us than for the Americans. And so 2% goal, is that what I'm hearing? Well, no. I don't want to stick with the number. I want to focus on what's important, capabilities and armed forces. That's what we need to generate, and that's what we need the necessary resources for. And the heads of state and government committed to that 3 times already, to spend at least 2% of the GDP. Right now, we are at 1.57, and we are the richest nation in Europe. So I can tell that you have combined this mix of military and politics. Well, thank you. And now, thirdly, what does that have to do with NATO? NATO is a defensive alliance and also a political alliance. The NATO treaty focuses it on the Euro-Atlantic area, and that will not change. But NATO has to understand the implications of the changes in the strategic situation picture and adapt to it. It needs to adapt to the fact that the global international system is changing fundamentally. Experts call this the global world power competitiveness or competition. The Americans are turning to the Far East, and in the worst case, the entire West could be challenged by 2 autocracies, Russia and China. So what does NATO have to do? I already gave you part of the answer. NATO has to get its Europeans together to do more for the alliance and contribute more capabilities. NATO should foster partnerships with the partners in the Indo-Pacific, Japan, South Korea, Australia, maybe even India. And all that should then happen as soon as possible. Jana Polirin said it. This should, as soon as possibly, flow into the reflection process, which leads to a new strategic concept that would help solve internal controversies and difficulties, and then make sure that NATO is ready for the external challenges and that it can focus on external threats and challenges and develop a new joint strategic concept. And now my 3.5 point. I was very impressed with the young transatlanticists and Yata, and with the discussion that they had with Bettina Kadenbach. I was impressed with the work that you produced. I was part of the jury. I read your essays. I was impressed with the high level of reflection and provocative thought. And I was very happy that you had this discussion with Ambassador Kadenbach. It was a good thing for me to see that the young generation is interested in NATO and these relations across the Atlantic. I'm very grateful for that. Let's, give a round of applause for that. And now my 3.75 point. You commended me, and I thank you for that, and I'm flattered, of course, but I'm a member of a team, and the team is the Deutsche Atlantische Gesellschaft, the DAG, specifically one working group, and the decisive employee of the DAG is right here. She, in fact, took over the entire organization, the technical work, the preparatory work that was necessary to pull off this event, and that is Kamala Jacobite. And this is why I asked her to join me here on stage and to thank all of you together with her and thank her and show her my appreciation. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here at the gas holder and also across Zoom and YouTube, we are now concluding the 2020 NATO talk. I thank all of you, all of the viewers. Thank you for your time and attention. Thank you for your participation. That was wonderful. We are very enthused by the debates and questions that came in. Thank you for your participation. I wish you well. I wish that you get through the next coronavirus months well, and I wish you a wonderful afternoon. Thank you very much.